Liverpool, latitude 53.4084 north, longitude 2.9916 west. I come from a long line of dockers, seafarers, ancestors who toiled on both sides of this once hard-working waterway. And like many people from this town, I can trace a direct family connection back here to the River Mersey. Many a dream has sailed up that river on the incoming tide in search of a better life. Mine sailed down it and off out to sea where it traversed the world. It was a film, and we shot it right here in the middle of the Cold War, where a Russian ship laden with the most precious of cargo ploughed through the waves and dropped anchor, not just in the heart of our fair city, but in the hearts of our heroines, Teresa and Elaine. For most people who worked on the film, it was an artistic or technical calling. For me, it was a bit of an emotional deep-sea voyage. Laughter one minute, tension, sometimes tears the next. Writing it, and especially the fighting getting it made, scarred me to the bone. And the question I ask myself these many years later is this: would I do it all again? And oh, Margi would. This is the tale of how we went from the pen to the page to the picture, perestroika. This is my story of Letter to Brezhnev.
I want you, Elaine. I want you to marry me. I have nothing to gain, nothing, just you.
It takes a bit longer.
Sometimes I can't believe that I wrote those lines, you know. Where did that come from?
Just don't forget me, okay? I'll always love you, you know.
It was just something deep down inside of me that I wanted a love story where it'd be really unlikely to happen, but does happen. But I didn't think I had the talent to do it. I wasn't that confident in myself. And I was living in a flat in Falkland Square, in a tiny little scruffy one-bedroom flat. Just me, my boyfriend and my dog Bessie. And then one day I woke up, he'd gone down to London. And all we had to eat, me and the dog, was a tin of tomatoes and a packet of dry pasta. And I said to the dog, this is all we've got, Bessie. And we both ate it. And I thought, I can't carry on like this. So I got the pen out immediately. And this is where it all began. That flat up there is emblazoned on my heart. It changed my life. This area was really artistic. You had a gaggle of writers and poets. We were on the cusp of the artistic scene in Liverpool, mixed with a really rough working class side. Some fabulous people walked through that front door and into my flat and left an indelible mark on my soul. I've taken them with me throughout my life. One day, there was a knock on my front door. It was one of my mates, Colin Rothwell, and he had Sandra with him. She was dressed to the nines. She was beautiful, and she was full of bubble and bounce and intelligence and wit. And he just brought us in, and she entered the Lion's Den because it was a flat full of bitchy gay men, and we loved her.
I was just surrounded by all these like really funny, gorgeous looking guys, but who were all gay, so felt very safe, who adored me. So that was my refuge.
So we more or less lived in each other's pockets at that time. And you could turn up at my flat any time, morning, noon or night, and there'd be someone dossing on the couch. We filled each other's heads with ideas and schemes and dreams of what we could all achieve. Peter came, I'd never met him before, and just knew he was a fabulous actor. And he came and stayed. Next day was a cold, wet Monday morning, and he said to me, Frank, would you like to go and see a film I made? At the pictures? And he went, yeah, at the cinema. He said, I haven't seen it yet. And I said, what is it? He said, it's Tess. And so we jumped the bus from my flat into London Road, and I'm sitting next to Peter Firth. He's playing Angel Clare, and he's up there on the screen. And I'm looking at that and looking at him. And I wanted to say to the audience, excuse me, he's here. He's not there. And it was like a seed was planted, because I'm sure I remember thinking, I should do that. Maybe the stars were in alignment at that time, because that's where Letters to Brezhnev was written. Right by that balcony, I would sit at a little desk with a typewriter, and I bashed Letters to Brezhnev out. Once I started it, something took control of me. It was almost like I wasn't writing it. It was something else. I didn't eat, I didn't sleep. I just wrote all day, smoking ciggies, non-stop. If I didn't have any ciggies, I'd rummage in the ashtray and make a rollie out of the stumps. It was a race to the end. It was almost like I was running and I couldn't stop until I wrote the words, the end.
When he wrote it, he went missing for a month. No one seen him. And he was banging away on the typewriter.
People started noticing that I wasn't on the scene anymore, on the gay scene. And Chris Bernard, he knew something was up, and the word was out that I was doing something, that I was writing a play. And Chris came around to see me the day after I'd finished it, and I gave it to Chris, and I left him to read it on his own, and I walked around this park while Chris read it, and I went back up, and he left me a letter, and the letter said, "This is the greatest thing I've ever read. Please, 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 Frank, if you ever make it into a film, let me direct it." First one I cast was our Margi, and I gave her the script. I said, I want you to be in it, Marg. And she read it and she said, I want to play her. I said, who? She said, I want to play the one that gets the fella. I said, no, you can't play her, Margi. You're playing the other one who doesn't get the fella. And she said, but I don't want to play her. I don't want to play Teresa. I want to play Elaine. I said, Margi, Teresa gets the last shot of the film. The last shot of the film is on your gob. And she went, oh, all right then. Nobody could have played Teresa like our Margi. And once I put Teresa in that chicken uniform, the wellies, the overall, the white cap, she practically wrote herself.
What exactly do you do? Take the innards out of chickens, put them into little plastic bags and stuff them back up again?
There's 10 legs, 4 wings and a couple of breasts. Tell your mother I couldn't get the full bird. What are you? They are making change.
I thought I would just be able to write it, hand the script over to a production company or a film company or a television company, and they would happily make it. Well, that didn't happen. I sent it to every television company in the land. We like it, we love it, but we can't make it. And I wanted this film to be made, and I was doing everything I could in my power just to keep it moving forward.
But then fate stepped in. Someone had got in touch with him and said to him, Frank, will you put this girl up? Her name's Fiona. And in comes this girl, Fiona. They didn't know that sitting amongst them was a millionairess.
She came up to Liverpool to get the ferry home, and she missed the ferry with her 2 dogs. And in those days, hotels wouldn't take dogs. So she ended up staying in my flat on my pissed up floor on some dirty, filthy old cushions. And when she left that flat the next day and jumped into her van and drove down to the pier, she left me a note, another note, and it said, if you're ever in the Isle of Man, come and say hello, you'd be more than welcome. I was on the next ferry with the script under my arm.
I went over there to see her in the Isle of Man on the pretext of typing my script and doing rewrites, and all the time I was sitting there giving it that on the typewriter and saying, how can I get my hands on the family fortune? And they read the script, loved it, and the brother rang me up, Charlie Castleton, 2 days later.
Fiona, my sister, was ground zero for me for Letters to Brezhnev. It's all through her that I got involved. I mean, I read the script and really loved the script. And as soon as I read it, I thought, of course we can make this, of course we can make it. And of course, when you are young, you are very naive, but we thought we could do all the filming for £20,000, which in today's money is £80,000.
I just didn't hesitate, actually, but then I'm a bit impulsive and I don't know anything about the film industry, or I'd never given it any thought at all. And I was just charmed, really.
I thought, marvellous, you know, I'd love to do it, you know, and at the time I had the money there, and I said I wanted to do it. And then he phoned up Fiona like a week later, and they were chatting, and I spoke to Fiona and said, has Frank found the money, you know, and Fiona said no, so I said, okay, you know, let's do it now.
So I ran round to Chris Bernard, the director, who's me busy mate, like a headless chicken, with the cheque, we've got the money, and we're screaming around the living room. And that's what got the ball rolling. I actually had to do a lot of lying. Phoned Peter Firth up, he read the script, and I told him that we got the money when we hadn't. I told the Castletons that we got Peter Firth when we hadn't. I told everybody a big pack of lies, but bit by bit the lies pulled together. And that is the beauty of Brezhnev.
It was exciting, and it felt normal. It felt, okay, we're going to do this.
Action! My God, we're here. You know, 1984, here we are.
Well, I phoned up everyone I could think of who had an idea about film, and I got their angle on it. And I got a guy who I've known for about 15 years called Bruce McGann, who's a cameraman. He shot the film, and he was like my right-hand man, as it were.
We had a little team. From that nucleus, we were able to go out there and make this really successful film.
We were all so thrilled. That's some going that we actually got a whole film off the ground for that amount of money.
So, I mean, it was low budget, but I think collectively everyone had that faith in each other.
Our energy was the budget, because there was a sense of urgency about it too, that we didn't have the luxury of saying, oh, we'll come back and do that take again, or we'll pick that scene up. You know, we've got loads of money to do that. We didn't.
Yeah, we worked quickly. No locations really were pinned down, just didn't have the money to buy locations and things, so we were sort of guerrilla filming, turning up, hiding cameras and doing stuff in public. I just loved that.
We just turned up and just filmed it.
They called us guerrilla filmmakers then. This DIY punk ethos.
Filming from the hip, with no permission. Like, this guy doesn't even know it's on camera.
Before a frame could be shot, settings, locations, costumes and props all had to be got from somewhere. There was no money, so they had to be shamelessly scrounged.
I went into Lewis's and I got Alexandra, who plays Elaine, to dress up in a gorgeous little mini, big high stilettos and a plunging neckline. I said, come on, we'll go and see the manager of Lewis's. So she sat there giving it the sex symbol number, and I blagged the zero.
I'm doing this film and we've got Peter Firth, but she needs some costumes. And they did actually give us some clothes.
If you look at the end of Brezhnev, the credits on Brezhnev, there's a very long list of great thanks to all the people who contributed, you know.
Everyone cared about each other and other people wanted to be involved. People came in that we didn't know. Everybody knew none of us had a pot to piss in. We scheduled it in such a way that we knew when people were going to sign on.
We come from no money. You can actually see in the 4 weeks of filming, we're all skinny.
People were just poverty-stricken. You know, even people in jobs, they were just surviving, they were just ticking over. There's a scene where Elaine, she's with Teresa and she's with Josie.
And Ken Campbell, he's the journalist, and he's interviewing, he's going,
I'm going to a country with food shortages, lack of freedom.
You just take a walk into any back kitchen round here and you'll soon see food shortages.
It was a comment on what it was like in cities like Liverpool at that time.
As much as it was the worst time in many ways for so many people we knew, we weren't going to make this miserableism. We were almost saying what we wanted to have. We wanted Hollywood and the colour and the glamour.
We were raised on Hollywood films, and so it was all a bit like a training, in a way.
We used to watch cinema on a Saturday afternoon on BBC Two.
And I'd just seen on the telly,
I've written a letter to Daddy. His address is heaven above.
And I thought, right then, what if someone sent a letter to Brezhnev?
I've written a letter to Brezhnev. His address is Russia with love. And I said, Margi, can I have that? And she said, yeah, go for it. She was really enthusiastic. It's a great title, Letter to Brezhnev. Not mine, it's hers. I just put flesh on the bones.
Love you.
Frank wasn't writing totally from fantasy. He was writing from observation.
Well, I grew up with a family of 6 sisters and my mum and dad. So it was mainly me around. My brother Michael disappeared when I was very young. So I was privileged in a way because I observed how my sisters interacted. And they all went into that pen, all of them. Whenever I was short of a scene or a phrase or a look or a fight or an argument or a laugh, it was one of my sisters that came out of that pen.
I'm not scared of you, you know, aren't you? Well, you will be in a minute when I rag the face off you.
I didn't realise how much he was listening to his sisters. It's a female film.
And especially scenes where Elaine is taking care of Teresa in the hotel bedroom and puts her arm around her.
Oh, I'm not mean or anything, Elaine. I know you know.
And that to me was just very poignant and very like my sisters, what they would do to me and to each other when things got a bit tough.
Fair enough. Good mate, you know, Elaine. So you, Teresa. But let's go and get our money's worth out of them.
I was influenced by lots of different people. What influenced me more than my sisters, more than anything, was Kirkby. Kirkby was another character that coloured the film from top to bottom. Well, Kirkby was a very young town when we moved there. It was predominantly run by the women. My mum and all her young mates, they all formed an action group. The council had put the bats up from threepence to sixpence, and if you had gangs of kids, that doubled the money you had to spend. So they formed this action group to fight in the local elections against the local councillors, and they called themselves the Dissatisfied Residents Action Group, DRAG. You couldn't make it up, could you? And they won.
And come with me to Kirkby on Merseyside. That's the unlikely setting and inspiration for a new romantic British film.
Well, of course, a lot of the film was shot in Kirkby. Every single thing that we could do in Kirkby was shot in Kirkby. But even the little home that Elaine comes from, you know, that was shot in Kirkby.
This is Gillian Rowe's house, and Gillian is the daughter of Reenie and Jim Rowe. And Reenie very kindly allowed us to film this house and use it as Elaine Spencer's main home in the film.
To live in Russia, then that's the way it's going to be.
This is a real living, breathing house, and it speaks volumes when you see it on film. It looks like a real house, proper Kirkby family home from Northwood as well.
So why don't you do something really constructive like this?
Aye, get off of you, you vicious little nerd. What's going on?
Mandy Walsh, who played the mum, she just looked the double of me mum, with really tight bad perm, but gave off a great energy.
You're telling no one not
Face.
just leave it alone, okay?
The perm, she was great, Mandy.
And I don't know what this lot next door must be thinking with all the effing and blinding going on in here. So fucking pack it in now, okay?
Well, that was me mum. And she'd come back every Saturday night after going to confession and would come in and end up swearing her head off.
And you know fuck all. So you better just get us into your head right now that you're staying here, okay?
Mum, I don't care what you say or how you try to bully me, but my mind's made up. I'm going, and that's that.
This staircase has got one of the most hilarious parts in the film for me, unintentionally. It's where Elaine flounces up the stairs and turns like Bette Davis.
So why don't you just sit down, get your wool out and knit yourself an iron curtain?
Oh, fucking hell, that's not the rain, is it? Yeah, it'll get ruined.
Tracy was supposed to be the main character and was going to go to town with Elaine, but she turned out a bit sour, and I didn't want to start again. So I kept her, I made her even more sour, and then I introduced Teresa.
Hi, Elaine. Hi, Tracy.
There was a factory in the 80s where all the girls used to work on the chicken factory, and they'd come out to Kirkby and they'd go straight out.
And they'd be in the pub, still in their overalls.
Because the lads were all skint, they'd see the girls with the chicken uniforms on, the wellies and the hat, and they'd want to cop off with them because they had a few bob. So you then got girls who would go round to the mates to borrow their chicken uniform to go out and cop off. They're not borrowing a nice frock, a pair of shoes, they're borrowing an overall and a cap.
I mean, what man in his right mind would refuse the dollop of what I've got to offer?
There was lots of young lads with no work at all. They were all on youth opportunity schemes.
Don't suppose you've got any money on you, have you?
The coat.
How much do you want?
That coat became famous in Liverpool.
Oh, make love, is that €5, yeah?
He's going to tap her purse for the rest of his life. Tracy, you can see why she's so sour in a way. She doesn't want to give anything away because it's giving away something of herself.
Will you?
Yeah.
Will you?
Yeah, you heard me.
I'll see you one woman.
She deserves that. That hard face, you'd swim it yourself, wouldn't you?
Eddie Prescott.
Frank Clarke.
40 years.
40 years.
Let's peel them years back, lads.
We're still here, mate.
We're absolutely
We're here
still
to tell the tale.
It's fantastic seeing you. It really is. I want to ask you, who was Mick for you? Who inspired you to play him?
Well, I lived in Kirkby and I've always drank all around Kirkby. So there was loads of them characters. They like to socialise, they like a bevy, they like a party, you know what I mean? They like life.
But he wasn't a baddie.
Oh, no, not a baddie. Far from it.
No.
Far from it, yeah. He just sort of got through life on his wits.
A survivor.
A survivor, yeah. That's what people did then. And I just got a phone call from ART Casting, which is Ricky Thompson, obviously, to my mother, saying, send Ted down, but yeah, because his name was Ted Wood. Send Ted down, the everyman. And I went down there and I seen a script. And I don't know why, and I took me sheepy. It was me sheepy anyway. I remember doing the, no, it was filming there. I remember all the casting crew, and they all went in bulk. And I had this sheepy on and all that, and obviously a big head of curly hair. I thought, oh God, now, but I had a big, massive head of curls, you know what I mean? So we get home, and I thought, they like me there for some reason. And when I got home, Ricky Thompson was already phoned my mother on the house phone saying, it's looking good for Eddie. And I was made up.
Oh, I bet you were.
It was a film. Oh. You were in a film. It was just, wow. I mean, this is nearly 40 years on, Frank, and people still mention it. They do, especially me sheepy. It's there forever.
In Kirkby, the pub would be finished by 10:30. But we were still dead high. We were full of life. We were young, so we had to get into town.
People did transform themselves, especially the girls. And the false eyelashes that go on, and the mascara, and the lippy, and the blushy, and the hair, and these visions of beauty would emerge.
The whole zhuzh is there.
Good God, I didn't recognise you.
But there's some little throwaway lines that still make me laugh. And one of them is where they're in the club, and they spot the sailors, and Teresa says to Elaine,
Play hard to get, a little bit of cat and mouse, a bit of tease. I'll just go and get lice off them.
Teresa, don't.
she can't even take her own advice, and minces off across the dance floor.
The State was a fantastic nightclub.
And I do remember there was one day when we just sort of carried on. It was just seamlessly from film and straight into another night out at the State. That's you and Fred in the State, just
Fred.
before You See Me.
Oh, yeah. And there's you in the State, looking for love.
Before I See You, yeah.
You can almost feel the emotion from both of them because it was absolutely real. They weren't acting, they meant it. And icing on the cake is, I wrote a love story. She played the love interest, so did he, and they're together, they're married, so it was prescient. I saw it coming.
On the day, Chris Bernard had to be really inventive because when we got to the State and he didn't have quite enough extras, he has to keep pushing us all together.
If you really scrutinise it, you know, you can see that some of the others jumped a bit where they shouldn't have done.
The extras were fantastic. They all done it for nothing. We didn't have any money and they all got really involved. And what most people don't realise when you do dance scenes or music scenes, there isn't any playing, otherwise you wouldn't hear what the actors have to say. So all these people are dancing and moving. And they really danced the little legs off themselves. They were all lads off the gay scene with us, they were all good friends.
and there's this lovely scene. Gang of gay lads, all linking arms, all mates in real life, and one of them says, "This is shipping, you know." 40 years ago, can you believe that, girls? Tracy Wilder, Sean McKenna, to me dear old gay friends. I mean, I love the scene that you're in, dancing on the dance floor and coming down here. What do you remember of that period?
Oh, I'll never forget it, because it was like, oh my God, it's like Hollywood has come to Liverpool. Everyone was buzzing about it. And I was made up because I actually knew the writer and the director, and we were all mates together. And I was just like, wow, these are Scousers doing this. And the whole thing was just wonderful for Liverpool. The talk was on everyone's lips.
Your writing and Chris's direction, it was a match made in heaven anyway. Letter to Brezhnev brought Hollywood to Liverpool.
Yeah. And me being LGBT, I was so proud and was like, wow, these are LGBT guys working in this industry. To me was art, which made me believe in myself, and I've got to thank yous for that. No, I really mean that.
Definitely.
Kiss, love you very much. Yeah, thank you. You've helped us be who we are. Love you very much, Frank Clarke.
Gale to the shipping, you know.
I can't wait.
Yeah, it's shipping. Sailors.
Where are they from?
I know.
Oh, I don't know, but they're gorgeous.
I think it's Russian.
Can't wait.
I think they're Russian. But all the nice girls love a sailor.
Hello, sailor.
Wow, 40 years on.
So also down that road, there was a little kiosk, tiny little kiosk where you could get the Echo or get sweets. And we're filming the bus scene, and we needed to plug a light in. So I just ran into this kiosk and said, if we buy a load of stuff in here and pay you some money, have you got a plug I can plug this light into? And I was told, no, it's no problem, lad, it's on the fiddle anyway. Have I just got someone into trouble? It's 40 years, who cares?
I think somebody's just flung themselves under the bus.
Accidental.
Under the bus.
The scene in the chippy, that's hysterical.
Who the fuck are you giving your dirty looks to?
That was late at night by the time we got there. We were filming that about 2 o'clock in the morning.
Fuck him, Charlie! Go on, Charlie! Charlie! Go on! You communist aggressors!
Shannon! What are you doing here?
Getting my fella's tea.
40 years later?
No way.
Oh, what a fantastic role you played in the film.
Oh, thank
you. And Charlie caused murder in the chippy.
Did you?
It was so good. How did you get the part, Shannon?
Well, I was working in a dentist's office, horrible job, and it was a Friday night, come home with a shocking headache, and your Frank rang me up and said, Sharon, it's Frank, we're doing this film called Letter to Brezhnev. Will you come along and read for one of the parts? I was like, yeah. So I went along, read it, loved it. He said, that's great, let's go, we're filming next week, can you do it? I said, yeah. Went into the dentist the next day, I said, sling your hook, I'm off. And so that was that.
Dance with me, Charlie.
It just launched my acting career, and people were so impressed. You know, you went for an audition, and like, it was the only thing I had on my CV, and I said, you know, Letter to Brezhnev, yes, give her the part, give her the... They were just so impressed by it. It just broke boundaries. I think it was just so new and fresh, wasn't it? Yeah.
Sweet and sour for me, and curry beef for you.
All right, if you don't fancy it, we'll get off.
All right, Charlie, I'm hungry.
So I think they're still together, but I like to think of them, you know, living their twilight years out together somewhere on a couch.
So what have you got your fella for his tea?
Oh, the usual. Sweet and sour for me and curry beef for him. What else?
Oh, so you're still hungry?
Margi, I'm always friggin' hungry.
See you, girl.
The casting is great in Brezhnev, but the technical side of it, they were cast great as well, because everybody brought their own piece of magic to it. The likes of Jill Horn, who done costumes, and Glenys Davis, who done locations and casting. Glenys ran this place called the Academy, and it was where people put on shows and paintings, and it was a gallery. And me and Chris were walking in town one day, and Glenys walked past, and I went, Glenys, and I called her back. I said, come work on it. She just poured every essence of herself into the film.
I haven't got a chocolate moustache, have I?
No, you haven't. Glenys, you instilled in all of us such confidence. You really encouraged us to go out there and do it for ourselves. What are your memories of Letter to Brezhnev, Glenn?
It's really hard to find words to express it, because it's something that once we got together as a family in Brezhnev, we were together forever.
Well, it took on a life of its own, didn't it?
It certainly did. It was really a magical dream come true, and it just become part of me. As I say, it's in the heart, and all the family of Brezhnev is there as well. I just know, like, I probably do mother everybody.
You do, you're a natural mother.
Yeah. Your mother does.
That nurturing instinct.
Oh, absolutely. And drawing things out of you that you didn't really know you had.
Gently.
Yeah, very gently, but persuasively. You know, we couldn't have made Letter to Brezhnev without Glenys Davis.
It's lovely to be back with my family.
Yeah. Filling up here. Cut! Oh, there's a scene with our Angela, my kid sister. Elaine and Josie are going to post a letter, and they see Tracy from very early on in the film.
Hi, Elaine, Josie. Oh, hi, Tracy.
And she says, what are you posting? And Angela lets the cat out of the bag. She's writing to the President of the Soviet Union.
She's writing to the President of the Soviet Union? What?
And those
Anyway,
two
Tracy,
have
I'm
a bit
in
of
a
an
rush,
argument.
If you've been to the moon, you've been there twice, haven't you, Tracy? You just don't see any good in people, do you? Not communist Russians, I don't.
I love when Angela's in the middle
jealous bastard.
and they start arguing. It's like she's watching a tennis match of insults. One lobs one insult over the net, and the other one lobs an even bigger one back, and their face.
Anyway, as I said, Tracy, I've got to get going. So why don't you go and get a job, and maybe Mick will consider taking you back, if you beg him.
I told you, girl.
I'd have been terrified waiting to see the rushes.
I rang Chris up the day the Russians came back, and I said, what do they like, Chris? What do they like? He said, they're fabulous. I said, well, I'm on my way over.
My flat, we hung a white sheet up, got a projector, and projected rushes. We were so excited that the room was packed with everybody to see it.
And those shots were of the alleyway where Peter and Sandra stand in the smoke all around them. And then there's a close-up of our Margi, and she looked like a movie star. It was just quite mind-blowing, because it was just beautiful.
It's very different from here.
And we could see it, it become real. It existed.
Here we are again, Marg. I remember it with great fondness. I used to walk here from Faulkner Square every day with my dog, and we'd call on Chris. And the very first rushes I've ever seen of my work, our work, was in that room. And it wasn't just a workplace for the film, it was also where our friends lived. And we filmed some interiors in there, and then the exteriors here.
Oh, the house here, it was like a haunted scene. It looked like the Hammer House of Horror. It was all black. There was all mist swirling in the trees.
I should have come out with a pair of fangs, didn't I? Blood drooling down.
I told you I shouldn't have come, Teresa. When are you going to spoil your night?
Chris Bernard said to me, Frank, will you do Vinny, because you've got an equity card? Will you do it? And my heart sunk, because I was no actor.
So how long have you been a model then?
Ages. I was in amateur gardening last week, standing next to a privet bush.
God, they're all the same, aren't they?
And here I am, the cheesiest, hammiest actor you're ever likely to set your eyes on.
Hey, Vinny, what's his name?
Who?
The President of Russia.
Brezhnev, isn't it?
That's it, Brezhnev.
And they block me now.
Oh, I love you. Where are you going?
See there, I'm blocked. Watch me find the camera.
Get in there and get your tits rubbed. In fact, why don't you get them pulled off you?
And I don't know what happened to me, but halfway between here and there, I turned into Lily Savage. I minced my way back in.
And you don't even walk like that.
I know. It was a lovely place to film here, wasn't it?
Well, it wasn't a house of horror, it was a house of creativity.
That's right, it was.
Complete opposite.
A standout scene for me was always the saying goodbye. And there was a mesh fence. There was a kind of an iron curtain between us, this mesh fence. And I got to kiss Sandra too, so I think we need another take on that.
But remember, you look to the star and think of me.
You know, they say goodbye at the fence, and then we cut into this like dreamy type sequence. We'd done a love-making scene. So we shot some stuff in the real cabin, but when it came back, it was horrendous. The sound was horrendous, everything, because you had Bruce. Have you seen the size of a cabin? So you had Peter and Sandra taking each other's clothes off and going in to start having a bit on a bunk, and it was all blue. The light was terrible. All you could hear, because his knees were shoved into his chest while he's filmed, was Bruce going, he had a cold, right, and that was coming out on the film. And so it just looked like a porno. It just looked like the worst porno. So we were able to reshoot. So what was I going to do? So we blacked out as much as we could, shot it at night in my big living room on Egbert Drive. We then did that sequence and turned it into more dreamy.
Well, that was shot in that room there, and Chris Bernard seen Sandra get in the bare flesh and ran out the room. The Queen in him couldn't look at a naked woman. And he said, I'm going to make a cup of tea. You take over, Bruce.
And he just ran, fled. Went and put the kettle on. I'll go and make the tea. And
I
so
think
you,
I've got this, Chris.
That's right. You directed. So it would be you and Bruce just came up with the thing between you, and you directed me. You're like, right, you're going to do this.
Yeah.
And then she has to wake up. You know, how do we end the scene? So back to the bang, bang, bang.
Elaine, will you stop dreaming your life away? Your tea's ready.
I don't want any.
So they haven't actually done anything.
That's a great shot.
Love that.
Me and Fred.
Fred Molina.
And I so love Fred Molina. I think he only says 2 words in the whole film, Liverpool and chicken or something, because he's the Russian sailor that doesn't speak English. So all throughout the film, he's just using his face for every scene.
Your English isn't very good, is it?
In Soviet Union, we are allowed many wives. Sergei has 10.
We were always taking the mickey out of the budget. He used to wind me up and he'd be singing to me, somewhere over the budget.
We started filming, and then mysteriously we had to stop.
We ran out of money 3/4 of the way through the shoot.
We had 1 week left of filming.
And Frank and Chris Bernard had taken what they'd shot to Channel 4 in London, showed it to them and said, can you give us the rest of the budget?
And Channel 4 and Palace Pictures saw what we'd done, and here's the cheque, sign on the dotted line.
And so that got us through to the end of filming.
They started with about £50,000 and gambled on raising more. Now assured of £300,000, it's just about enough, though little more than Hollywood would spend in less than a day.
And it had got the green light, and we all lit up like you wouldn't believe.
So it's all looking very rosy, just like in the movies.
One of the things about when people watch that film that really ties it all up for them is the music. It's enchanting.
Alan Gill. Alan was pivotal. We couldn't have done it without Alan, because the music is such a strong part of the film. It's another character. Like Liverpool's a character, Kirkby's a character. The music lifts it onto another level.
At that time, I got loads of tapes of various Russian composers just to get a feel of it. But the initial theme was very much like a Russian folk tune, really. But then for the film, it turned into a more, you know, once we got the Liverpool Philharmonic to do it, then it became another thing altogether, moved on to another level.
What did it feel like when you first heard it? What impact did it make on you?
Oh, it just blew my mind, yeah, 'cause I never thought it'd work with an orchestra. And just when they were in the room and when they were tuning up, I was like that, because I've always loved the sound of an orchestra tuning up. Yeah, I never dreamt anything like that would happen, yeah.
Alan, what do you think is the reason the film has lasted decades?
I think sometimes things just come together. It's like a weird magical thing that you can't make happen, but sometimes they do, and it was just right at the time. With what we had to start off with, it's unbelievable that it became a film, and yet somehow things just fell together. It's great to be part of it.
My favourite scene is where Elaine and Teresa are at the bar in the Peacock where we begun the film. They're back in that same pub, and the film has gone full circle. They've been out, they met the Russians, they wrote to the premiere, and Teresa then plays the big sister to Elaine.
I'm not going to Russia.
What do you mean, you're not going?
I'm just not.
Why?
They both play that scene so tenderly, and you can see that they really care about each other. Really love it. That's my favourite scene.
Come on, Elaine.
Don't, Teresa, just don't. He's married, so will you just leave me alone?
No, I won't leave it alone. All right, he's married. Well, you've got a ticket there, haven't you? Get off over there and find out for yourself instead of taking some prick's word for it. But what have you got to lose?
When there is always something there to remind me.
The very first letter to Brezhnev was written by my mother, and it was in the 60s, 1966, when Liverpool was at its happiest, and yet our family was heartbroken.
Well, Kathleen was our older sister, and she got cancer when she was 15. And my mother wrote a letter to Brezhnev, who was in the Politburo, pleading with them for any technology they might have to help Kathleen. Like a mum, you know, they battle for the children. And before she took ill, her and my mum would toddle off to Kirkby Town Centre to do the shopping, and people would say to me mum, "Oh, she's gorgeous, Francis, just like Sandy Shaw." And she was really lovely, Kathleen, anyway. She passed away. And I remember Saturday night at the London Palladium watching it with my mum, and Sandy Shaw was on singing Always Something There to Remind Me. And my mum was staring intently at the screen, and it was like she wanted to put a hand through the telly and drag Kathleen out at Sandy Shaw. So when I came to make Brezhnev, I actually wrote Always Something There to Remind Me into the screenplay because I wanted Kathleen in it. She was my sister. When we came to sell the film, the guy who ran Palace Pictures was Nick Powell, and he was married, it transpired, to Sandy Shaw. So in a way, it came full circle once we made the film. It was like Kathleen was set free. Sandra walks off and she comes back with 2 glasses of vodka. Well, Chris Menard didn't tell them, but it was neat vodka that he put in the glasses.
What's that? Vodka.
What's the faces you can tell when they drink it?
And so the big night arrives, the night the Kirkby Centre has been waiting for. It doesn't host many world film premieres, but it does know how it's done.
Our Frank had insisted that we have the premiere in Kirkby, and it was completely sold out. Everyone wanted a ticket.
true to the spirit of the film.
Yeah.
All the locals were invited, everyone that had been involved with the film and their families were invited.
Yeah, I took gangs of people with me.
You coming to Merseyside reception, viewers?
And there was tons of Kirkby people all outside that couldn't get in. So I opened the window in the toilets and loads of them flew in there. It was rammed.
Because all I cared about, really, was Kirkby people liking it, because they were me.
You couldn't hear some of it. People were laughing and you could hear them repeating the lines.
And then at the end, there was just this huge scream of approval, which I'll take to my grave.
Shouting and clapping, and they stood up and cheered everyone's name.
Yes, they like it, they like it.
It was fantastic. I'll never forget it.
This simple tale, simply told, has won their hearts. Filmmakers Clarke and Bernard are swept with relief and triumph.
Firstly, I'd just like to thank me dad and me mum for supporting me through all this.
When he actually told us all about it, we thought it was funny, and we thought it was appropriate, because the theme that was going right through it was one of peace, love, and coexistence.
That's all I wanted as well.
Press was amazing. It had the biggest print run a British film had had in 25 years.
The success of A Letter to Brezhnev was mind-blowing. It changed everything in my life.
It really broke some ground. It put down the marker to say, look, we can do things. We don't need a big Hollywood budget. We do have a homegrown talent. Again, that's something to be proud of, I think, for all those people involved.
We were in the Venice Film Festival. It was absolutely chock-a-block. All the seats were sold out. And Mel Gibson was sitting on the floor in front of us.
And he looked like a fella from Scotty. He looked like he was from Scotty Road.
And there was other famous people dotted around. I thought, what are you doing here? Our little film from Kirkby.
Hey, we've just made a film and it's in Venice, and how cool is that, you know?
I met people that I'd always wanted to meet. And that's what fame does. You put you with other famous people, I suppose, for the short time it lasted. It's a funny thing because we were famous but skint. You know, the film was on all over the country. It was #1 in the box office. It was opening in America. It was opening in Europe. It was opening in Australia. It was opening all around the world. And we still hadn't been paid. But I do remember when it first came out, I was in my little flat in Falkland Square. Betty was still there. Betty was still skinny. And we're listening to Radio 4, and it was 3 eggheads. And they were all talking about my film. And one of them said something like, I think what the writer meant when he juxtaposed the... And I'm like, maybe I did mean that. Perhaps I did.
Oh, Teresa, if it hadn't been for you, none of this would have happened.
Brezhnev, for me, looking back at it with the hindsight of 40 years, is less about Elaine and Peter and more about Elaine and Teresa. For me, that's the true journey of the film. One of them escapes from the poverty of Thatcherism, and the other one is trapped in the chicken factory and not brave enough to make the move. You should have told him yourself, girl, shouldn't you?
Yeah, it's a fabulous script, isn't it? End of. End of. He captured something. It was a classically formed drama. And I'm surprised someone from Hollywood didn't just come along to Frank and say, we'll buy that script for $2 million and we're just going to make it about 2 girls from Detroit. I suspect then Frank would have said, fuck off, you know.
You think you can do anything, and we could do anything. But if you have a belief and a passion, you know, you can make things happen, yeah.
There's a very elusive ingredient in filmmaking, and it's called magic. It's there or it isn't, and it's definitely there in Brezhnev. Ordinary people can make something like that happen, just with sheer willpower and determination.
It is something that I'll always be proud of, still am. It's very much like looking back on the slice of history for me.
They say the further back you get from a picture, the clearer it becomes. And looking back on it now, I'm really proud of it.
It's a great achievement. There was fighting and there was trouble and there was laughter and there was tears. But through all of that, you can't deny that between us all, we produced a beautiful bouncing baby. And the baby's up there in the heavens now with the best of them. And it will be watched forever and ever and ever with the best of them. It was a labour of love for all of us. And that love transfers to magic. That magic is on that screen.